And once again, it's Ask the Consul, and we have consular officers here from the United States Embassy. We have Sarah Van Horn. Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, Vernon. It's great to be back on the show.
You turn a profit, part of the show. And we also have Cindy Joof. That's an unusual name, spelled, I think, D-I-O-U-F.
Yeah.
I got it right?
You got it perfect, Vernon.
Boy,
Thank you for having us today.
I got to the top of my class, right?
Yeah.
And we have a gentleman who is passing through and has a very unusual name. Is it Gianni Paz?
That's correct, Vernon.
Oh,
it's good to be in Jamaica.
What are you doing in Jamaica?
I'm visiting my colleagues at the embassy.
So where are you based normally?
In Washington, D.C.
In Washington. I know why you're here, You know why you're here?
I think I do.
Well, you tell me why you're here.
I'm visiting my colleagues.
That's not true.
Learning more about Jamaica.
You cannot manage a coal in Washington before. That is why you come to Jamaica. All right. Well, I want to tell our listeners that the lines will be open right after 11:15. Let me just remind you of the lines, the straight lines that you can call. Sorry, the landline numbers. The numbers are 630-9371, 630-9372, 630-9373. And 630-9374. Our cell number is 618-8255. And I'm sure, ladies, you have a bit of information you want to share with our listeners. Who want to start off first, Cindy or Sarah?
Sure. Oh, sure. I can get started, Vernon. I just wanted to highlight some of the efforts that we've made at the embassy recently to make the applicant experience better by redesigning our waiting room. And so we're actually able to process. So we're actually able to have our applicants spend less time in the embassy, making it a more enjoyable experience for our clients. Just to put it out there that you don't need to come early. We're very, very good at getting people in at the correct time and getting them out. Lately, we've been able to do it in about 20 minutes. So look for changes at the embassy.
20 minutes? That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it's we have our team is really working on making it an enjoyable experience for the Jamaicans that come to see us. So check it out.
Well, listeners, you hear that? Might make it too comfortable if I come there. I might want to fall asleep,
But then you wouldn't be out in 20 minutes, so we can't have that.
Can't have that at all. So any other information you want to share with our listeners? Cindy?
Yeah, actually, November 20th and November 21st at the Conference Center here in Kingston, there's going to be a college fair from universities in the United States. So if you're a college-age student or thinking about going back to college and interested in studying in the U.S., we invite you to come to the Conference Center and to learn more about some of the universities and the application process. And if you have any questions about that or anything else about studying in the U.S., you can call our Information Resource Center at 702-6172, and we'll be happy to give you all the information you need.
So that number again is 702-6172. Persons are interested in attending this college fair. All right? Good. Now we have another caller, our first caller. Andre, how you do? Good. Thanks for calling.
Good morning. Not too bad.
Where are you calling from?
Well, I'm actually driving now.
Mama, we will not have that at all. No. You know I will not have that. So you're going to stop that car right now. You stop ours. I'm going to say have a wonderful day.
I'm on my Bluetooth, so I'm not.
No. I'm sorry. I'm not going to allow it at all. Because I would never want to have that on here.
I'm pulling over.
I'm very serious. I don't want to subject my listeners to that. No, it would be nice at all.
Okay. I have pulled over and I've stopped.
Good.
Good job, Andre.
Nice.
Now you can proceed to talk, not to drive.
Okay. All right. My question or issue is this. In 1991, my mother got married. And not to my father. About 4 years after that, the family decided they wanted to take a vacation, went to the embassy, applied, and everybody got through. But when they went to pick up my documents, they were told that someone out in the States is filing for me. As such, I could not get any documents or get my passport with the visa. Everybody else went except me. That was 91. to date, I hear my father, quote unquote, was filing and my name was in the system. I know that the time for filing, if I'm not mistaken, has lapsed. The fact that I'm now an adult, and as such, I'm asking, what can I do? The fact that my name was in the system and I'm now an adult from that time till now.
Okay, Andre, thanks for your question. Just to clarify, so you are interested in reapplying for a non-immigrant visa, or you're interested in trying to reinvigorate this immigrant visa petition from the 90s?
Non-immigrant.
A non-immigrant. You just want to go for a visit?
Right.
Yeah, it's a common misconception that that having an ongoing filing makes you ineligible for a non-immigrant visa. It is, even though your name is in the system, even if the filing was still ongoing, you could still apply for a non-immigrant visa, and we do often grant non-visiting visas to people who are in the process of having an immigrant visa filed for them. It kind of depends on the totality, the whole circumstances and your life here. So just because someone filed for you in the past and you didn't go through with it, or even if someone is currently filing for you, it doesn't make you ineligible. Now, sometimes if someone has an ongoing active filing and they're applying for a non-immigrant visa, other circumstances might indicate that we can't give them the non-immigrant visa. But it's not an automatic thing for sure, and the fact that your name would pop up in the system as having an immigrant petition in the past is not in and of itself disqualifying. So if you want to apply for the non-immigrant visa, we'll give you every consideration, and if you're able to demonstrate that it's just a short visit and you have strong ties here and want to come back, then I think your chances would be great.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andre.
Now you can proceed to drive.
All right.
Drive safely, Andre.
Right. Have a wonderful day. All right, you're listening to At Your Service here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
There's so many times.
Welcome back. You're listening to At Your Service here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media. We have another caller, Miss Marshall. How you doing? Good to have you. Where are you calling from?
Good morning. I'm calling from Mona.
Hey, good to have you. Go right ahead.
Okay. I'm calling in behalf of my mother. My mother is on the Social Security benefit, and they told her that she has to visit the country before she can get the Social Security benefit. How can she go about it?
I wonder if this is something you guys would...
Yeah, definitely. Hi, Marcia. It's nice to talk to you. Yeah, we definitely have people who come in and apply for visas exactly for this reason that you're talking about, because they're entitled to a Social Security benefit and they have to spend a certain amount of time in the U.S. In order to get that benefit. She can apply for a visa. She'd have to be found eligible for the visa, just like anyone else. But yeah, she can definitely go ahead and apply for a non-immigrant visa, and the consular officers would interview her. The process is the same. It's the same visa as someone who's going for vacation or going to Disney. So if you go to our website, you can find more information about that application process. That's Kingston. It's there, kingston.usembassy.gov. That's G-O-V. And you can find all the information about how to apply for a visitor's visa, and you can pass that information on to her. And we'd give her every consideration when she comes in for that interview.
Okay. And she has to, what can I say now? Suppose she's not working. She will get it?
Well, it really depends on the interview and on someone's individual circumstances. Having a job isn't a requirement for visa application, and many people, especially if they're retired, then that's a perfectly legitimate reason to travel. If they're retired, you have a lot of time to take vacation, and it makes a lot of sense to do so. So if she can demonstrate to the consular officer, her purpose of travel and her ties to Jamaica and how she's going to pay for her trip, if someone's going to pay for her, or if she has her savings.
She has her bank account, she has her house, she pays taxes and
Well, it sounds great. So, just make sure that she can explain all that to the consular officer who interviews her, and best of luck.
All right. Thank you very much for calling, and you have a wonderful day. All right, let's now go to Pauline. Pauline, how are you doing?
Good morning. Okay, thanks.
And where are you calling from? I hope it's my parish,
No, Kingston.
Uh-oh. Go ahead.
Okay, I am calling on behalf of my daughter. She applied for a visiting visa along with her daughter, her 2-year-old daughter, so they went to the embassy on the 21st of September. She said when she went to the counter to the person who's supposed to interview her, it seems as if she were having a problem with the computer because she was keep on saying, kissing her teeth and saying, I'm coming. She said that 3 times, and she was there saying, okay. And then she said to her, what do you do for a living? And she said, I'm a teacher. And then she said, okay, I'm coming. And she was there sticking the computer still. And then she looked at her and said, I'm sorry, I can't give you a visit this morning. And then she did not even ask her a question, did not even ask her for a paper, nothing. I'm saying if that is right, or if there must be an interview, or they don't have to interview you.
Hi, Pauline. This is Cindy, and you said you're calling from Kingston?
Yes.
Well, occasionally it is true that there are systems problems with our computers, but I can assure you that every applicant that comes to the embassy is entitled to an interview and will be interviewed. Sometimes those interviews are interrupted by problems with the computer. Occasionally the embassy loses power as well, and so that might have made her feel like she didn't get a full interview and didn't get a chance to fully explain herself. But certainly the considerations for her particular case were taken into consideration, and I think that there are some problems that we just can't avoid with our systems, unfortunately.
And Pauline, this is Sarah. I'd also add that a lot of times the interviews when people come in are very brief. The officers who are doing the non-immigrant visas do around 150 visa interviews a day per officer. So we're very efficient, and we're very good at doing short interviews and figuring out what someone's situation is in a relatively short amount of time. I can understand that sometimes you expect to have a much longer interview, but sometimes we're able to get the information that we need very briefly. And if we're able to get all the information that we need after just asking a few questions, then we don't necessarily prolong the interview longer than it needs to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there wasn't even an interview. She just asked a question.
Yeah, but I think she has answered it already. Remember that when you go there, they have to make a decision based upon what they have seen and they have heard. So it's their decision, and you just have to just accept it. You see.
Okay. And Pauline, if her circumstances change in the future and she feels like she'd be more qualified later on, then she's more than happy to reapply, and we'll give her every consideration.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Pauline.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much for calling. Now, Sarah and Cindy, probably at this point you can tell our listeners what are some of the pitfalls. What are some of the do's and the don'ts? You go for your visa and you say, oh boy, I go there, I tell them everything. They not talk to me for long. They probably don't like the way me look. They don't give me a fair chance and so on. And you'll be seeing far more. Tell us about some of those pitfalls and what persons should and should not do.
Okay. Well, Vernon, probably the most important thing to do, or the most important consideration, is to be truthful and to be honest, and to understand from the very beginning that you don't have to have someone else fill out your application. You don't have to go to a visa fixer or to a travel agent in order to present a package of yourself. The most
visa fixer?
Right.
What is a visa fixer?
It's
I'm giving you trouble.
Yeah, I'm just learning about it myself. But again, just to reiterate that honesty is the best policy at the U.S. Embassy. As my colleague Sarah was saying, a lot of times the interviews are very quick, and so we're not looking for you to come and present a set of documents to us or a certain story that you think that we're going to like. And in fact, some of us are very good at detecting whether or not what you're saying is truthful. And so sometimes applicants will have someone else fill out their application with stuff that's not true at all. And then when we ask the applicant, the story then sort of begins to fall apart because it's not the truth.
Okay. If I was in your position, I don't need to talk to that person for 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Because if I have a document in front of me, and I ask you, you say you have 2 brothers and sisters, and I say to you, how many brothers and sisters do you have? I think it's 3, probably 4 or 5. Then I probably don't need to go further, because if you don't even know how many brothers and sisters you have, how did you put it down on the form? So that's something that we have to think about. If you have a form, you should probably fill the form out yourself.
Mm-hmm. Or at least be aware of what is on that form, because whether you filled it out or not, you are responsible for the content. So if someone else fills it out, we hold those statements to be statements that you yourself made.
Because you signed that
because
document.
They signed, Vernon, that's exactly right. But I also wanted just to maybe clear up a misconception, Vernon. There isn't a certain applicant that we're looking for. There's not a certain job or somebody that had gone to college or
a certain look.
No, there isn't a certain look at all. That
no dress code.
No, there's no dress code. There's no look that we're going for.
Yes.
Every interview, every consideration is given to every applicant, and every applicant that applies at the U.S. Embassy is given a fresh interview.
Yeah. Basically, Vernon, we're looking for 2 things. Whether or not there are any visa ineligibilities, for example, previous overstays, or if they misrepresented themselves at the embassy in the past, or if there's a criminal history, things like that, which would legally prevent us from giving them a visa, and whether or not they're qualified for the visa that they're applying for. So if it's a non-immigrant visa, which is meant for short stays in the U.S. without working, if we believe that they're going to go for a short time to the U.S. and come back, and if we believe that they're not going to be working in the U.S. If you fulfill those criteria, if you're able to convince us that that you're eligible for the visa that you're applying for, and you don't have any other visa ineligibilities, then you should be good.
What's Indian, Sarah? I thought about overstaying. Overstayed 10, 15 years ago. I don't remember about that. I don't expect you guys to remember that. So when I come, I don't remember about that. When we come back, you probably address that one, because, many of us feel that if we overstayed our time, probably 10, 15 years ago, that's a long time ago. You guys, I'm sure, would remember about that. Gotta go for the break right now. You're listening to At Your Service here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media. Welcome back. You're listening to At Your Service here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media. I'm your host, Vernon Darby, and it's Ask the Consul. My special guests here this morning from the U.S. Embassy, we have Consular Officers Sarah Van Horn and Cindy Juve. We have a caller, Melissa. Melissa, good morning, Melissa. How are you?
Good morning. I'm calling to speak to the consular.
Yes, they're listening.
My mother, she went to the embassy yesterday. She did not get through. What they told her is that she was not qualified, and that when her situation has changed, she can come back. But what I'm saying is that there's no way it's going to be changed, because everything there is true. So I don't understand. There's no way it's going to be changed.
So what you're saying that...
she's not working. She's retired.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
She's not working.
Milicia?
I'm here. I'm listening.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Kingston.
Okay, and your mother interviewed yesterday, right?
She was interviewed yesterday.
Okay, and so when she applied, she shared everything about her circumstances with the officer, and the officer determined that she wasn't qualified for the visa.
Based on the question they asked her, I think that is everything. They asked her if she's working. She told them no.
Okay.
But she does a little backyard farming. She does like minor stuff. She doesn't work.
Well,
she has been in Grand Cayman for 16 years. Mm-hmm. She left there from 2012 because we told her to come home. We were going to school. We are now finished school. Mm-hmm. All our kids are working, so we told her to stop working now. So she's no longer working.
Okay. Not having a job is not something that necessarily keeps somebody from being able to get a visa. And I can assure you that the officer looked at the totality of her situation and at that moment determined that she was not eligible for the visa. That doesn't mean that she couldn't apply in the future.
Okay, continue. I'm listening. Sorry.
But I know that your concerns are that she's retired and that her circumstances aren't going to change. And are there anything else you can share about her particular situation? Was she going for tourism? What was her objective for travel?
She was just going to visit a family member. Okay, it would be horrible for her to travel after she finished working because she's been working for years, selling us to universities.
Mm-hmm. Well,
other kids. So this is her time to relax, to go out.
Yeah, and I don't know.
So as children, we plan to let her travel.
And unfortunately, I don't know any of the particulars of her case, and we're not allowed to discuss particular cases with anyone. But again, all I can tell you and to tell your mother is that at that particular interview, the circumstances that were presented to the officer led the officer to determine that she wasn't qualified for that visa, unfortunately.
But what I'm saying is, if I'm going to reapply in a year time, is the information going to be the same thing? Because there's nothing there to change.
Well, sometimes...
No, so that's what I'm saying. If they told her that their situation needed to be changed before, and we put back the same information, what is going to be happening? Because if you write something different, it's going to be a lie.
Well, and exactly, that's what we don't want to encourage, Milicia. So, one thing to really take into consideration is that sometimes applicants don't express themselves really well, and this can be a deciding factor. And so as you go forward, again, I would encourage your mother to be completely honest about what her intentions are during her trip and just really try to state, look, my life is very solid here. I have my family here in Jamaica. I'm retired and looking to do some tourism.
She's not that talkative. That's the thing. She's not that talkative.
Yeah, well,
she would just answer the question that they ask her and just finish. She's not that talkative.
Sometimes people just have a bad day, and sometimes they don't interview well. And again, we have a very limited time with each applicant, so a decision has to be made immediately.
Can she reapply before the 1 year time?
Well, there is no time limit. She can reapply whenever she likes. Now, we usually don't recommend, like you've heard, like your mother was told in the interview. We usually don't recommend that people reapply until their situation has changed or until there's been enough time to show, a different situation. If she feels like she just had a bad day and she didn't interview well and she wants to try again before a year, she's more than welcome to reapply whenever she likes. Again, we don't recommend that people reapply immediately because not only is that usually not enough time for any sort of change in their circumstances, it also sometimes might give an impression that someone is desperate to go to the U.S., right? So, but if she applies again in the future, again, continues to tell the truth as she did on this one, and if the officer sees consistency in her story, can understand her purpose of travel and why she would come back, she'd be given every consideration. And if she comes into to re-interview next time, she wouldn't see the same officer necessarily that she saw the last time. Maybe she was just very nervous, and sometimes nervousness can appear to a consular officer like they're trying to conceal something, even if she's just nervous. So yeah, she can play again whenever she likes. Again, for her own saving her time and money, we don't recommend people reapply immediately. But she can reapply if she felt like she didn't interview well the first time.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling, and you have a wonderful day. All right. We have another caller on the line, Jerome. How are you doing, Jerome? Good to have you. Where are you calling from?
Morning. Good morning. I'm calling from Kingston.
Yay. Boy, Kingston, Kingston Control the show to them, man. Go right ahead.
Okay. I overheard, I catch a part of the comment from one of your counselors there that one of the things that would be considered for what should I say? What would qualify me for the visa would be to have ties here in Jamaica. What I want to know is what are my chances if I don't have any ties except for my mom, who is retired. She's 84 years old. and I'm wondering what are my chances, being that I don't basically have any ties to Jamaica, no wife, no children, other than my job and my mother. So, that's what I want to find out.
Well, thanks for your call, Jerome. Obviously, I'm not going to do a visa interview now on the radio, so I can't give you a visa today. But ties like employment ties are certainly considered. How long you've been at your job, what kind of job it is, and if you're taking care of your mom, those things are taken into consideration. It's not a guarantee. I mean, basically, the key of a visitor's visa interview is explaining to convincing the consular officer that you're going to use your visa well, and it's really up to the officer who ultimately interviews you whether or not they feel like your ties are significant enough to overcome the presumption. So U.S. immigration law is a little funky, and one of the things that when you're coming in for an interview, by law, we are required to believe that everyone who's coming in for a non-immigrant visa interview is intending to immigrate illegally. That's the way our immigration law is written. We have to assume that everyone is going to immigrate illegally, and they have to prove to us or convince us of the fact that they're not, that they're going to travel well and come back. That's just the way our law is written. So, so basically, we can't give you the benefit of the doubt is what it comes down to. We have to be so convinced that you're going to travel well and that you have such strong ties here that you can come back. And sometimes it can be hard for young people, given, if they're single, if they're not working, to qualify right away. But, it's not a guarantee that they're not going to get a visa. You can often demonstrate other ties.
Because I know friends who they don't have any ties, they're not working, and they applied and they got their visas, and they're traveling to and from freely now. So
So
the thing is, I don't want to waste $18,000 or how many amount of $1,000 it costs to apply for a visa. It's not easy to work $18,000 or $20,000 and then give it away to an organization that says, "Hey, sorry, can't get it."
For sure. Yeah, it is expensive, and it's expensive because it costs us a lot of money to process the applications. It takes a lot of man hours to do the interviews, to set up the environment, to do the interviewing, to maintain the databases that we need to check before we can issue a visa, which is why that the visa fee is so high. It is a lot of money. So I would certainly consider your ties and what you think your qualifications are before you come into interview, but we're definitely interested in facilitating legitimate travel. So if you feel like you can show your ties that you're going to travel well, then please come in and interview.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much for calling, you see.
All right.
Bye, Jerome.
Have a wonderful day. Okay, well, let's go to another caller. Okino. Good morning, Okino.
Hey, good morning. You hear me?
Yes, one loud and clear. Go right ahead.
Yes, I went to the embassy twice in September. First occasion, I was denied the visa. The interviewing officer asked me to get further evidence because my dad is the one filing for me. However, I went ahead and transferred the information based on the paper I gave me to my dad, and he contacted the DNA center where he lives, and he got the DNA through. So I went back to the embassy on the 14th of September and did my sampling out there, and they sent it up back and said they'll contact me in 3 weeks' time. My dad got the results about 2 weeks or 3 weeks now, going into a month, and I haven't heard anything since.
So I just want to clarify, this is the immigrant visa that you're talking about, right? Your dad is filing for you. Okay. So if you haven't heard from us and you think that you should have, you can send us an email at kingstoniv@state.gov. That's GOV at the end there, and you can ask, provide your case number and your name, and we can figure out what's going on. Usually, when an immigrant visa case requires DNA testing, or when the officer suggests that DNA testing would be the best way to show that someone's qualified for the visa, after we receive the kits from the U.S., we would contact the applicant in Jamaica and let them know that it's time to come in for the follow-up interview. But if you haven't heard from us in a reasonable amount of time, I would try and give us an email at that email address I just provided for you. Okay.
All right, Aquino?
Yes,
Okay.
another question.
No, we have to go to have another caller holding. You see, call back if anything. You see, all the best. Take care then. Let's now go to
Good luck, Akeem.
Sandy.
Hi, good morning.
Good to have you. Good morning.
Hi, Sandy.
All right, to the consulars, you guys talk about ties and qualifications and so on, right?
Mm-hmm.
I went to the embassy twice and was turned down twice. And I don't understand the reasons why. The first reason was, well, both reasons were because of no ties, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have friends and family members who were in the same circumstances that I was in. No husband, no house, no pitney, no car, nothing. And they got through. So, you know, it's hard for some persons to accept that, hey, this thing is not biased and, you know, what really are qualifications, what really mean by ties and so on and so forth, because persons with similar circumstances go and get different results. So what exactly do you mean by ties?
Hi, Sandy. Where are you calling from?
Kingston.
Hi, Sandy. Well, let me just address that a little bit. Like we've said before, every interview is unique, and each time that you come to the embassy, you're able to sort of tell us a little bit about what your travel intentions are and what are your ties here in Jamaica. And we're not looking for a particular tie. We're not looking to know that you have a certain job or you're living with certain family members or that you have a house. There isn't a magic formula for getting a visa. The other thing, you know, maybe to take into consideration is applying with a short amount of time between each interview sometimes isn't always the best idea. We try to recommend, if you've been refused, to sort of wait a while until your circumstances or your situation has changed a little bit before you come and reapply again.
So you're saying that even though you put out that there's no specific requirements in terms of once you pass the legal eligibility, that you're assessed on an individual basis. But, you know, it's hard to when you go, you're turned down, your friend go, the same circumstance like you, and she get through, and you wonder why, and you just lose $20,000.
Well, again, every interview is different, and so I'm not sure of the circumstances of your friend's situation or what her ties are in Jamaica, but every time that you come to see us, we will ask you a certain set of questions or ask you things just about your life and your ties here and make a determination. But to reiterate again, we're not looking for anything in particular.
And basically the same thing applies for a job. You go for a job, you don't get the job, or your friend go for the job and your friend get the job, and you wonder why. That's the $1 million question. But guess what? Guess what? You hearing me? Hello? 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 You hearing me? You're not hearing me at all. I said, just remember this one. I have to leave you now. That sometimes, you know, I'll go for a job and I don't get it. My friend go and get that job. I'll have to ask myself, why I didn't get that job? That's the question. You might never get an answer, but that's the question. Me and my friend, two different somebody. Gonna go for the break right now, so come back. Don't move.
So many times
Welcome back. You're listening to At Your Service here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media. Boy, I tell you, time just goes by so quickly. I want to really thank you, Consular Officers Sarah Van Horn.
Thank you so much for having us, Vernon. It's a great opportunity to come on the show and answer your questions and questions of your callers. So.
And I want to say thanks also to Cindy Joof.
Thank you, Vernon. I really love your radio station. I love listening to you and the personality that you put in. So I'd like to thank you on behalf of the embassy for having us out here.
Are you admitting that you like crazy people?
I like fun people, Vernon.
I hear you. And of course, he's kept quiet for the whole program. Yes, we're talking about Gianni Paz.
I've really enjoyed being here. Thank you for having me today. And
we look forward to probably having you here for a full show, if I can tell.
I will come back to Jamaica anytime.
You better make sure you learn the patois first, you see. And I sure didn't understand a word I said a while ago. So just make sure you learn the patois. Jamaican talk first.
Translation?
I will help him to translate. All right, I want to say thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Gentlemen.